Back in November 2019, the late Wilma Morrison asked the Niagara Military Museum if they would be interested in developing an exhibit to showcase the military history of Black residents in Niagara. The rest, you could say, is, well, history.
It started off with one small newspaper vignette about a soldier wounded in Italy, and his dad was the pastor of the BME Church Nathaniel Dett Chapel. So with Wilma and we were with Pastor Dix, we went down there and we found the Johnsons and James Grant and Pudge Dawson and of course Richard Pierpoint, and it just started to snowball from there.
The exhibit showcases local St. Catharines resident James Grant, who would become the first Canadian Black soldier to receive a military medal.
He was at Passchendaele. He was part of a howitzer battalion, shooting, shells that weighed maybe, say, like 90 pounds each, 60 to 90 pounds, okay? And they're in that huge battle at Passchendaele, where it's mud and shelling, there's no roads left. Twice, he brought forward ammunition to his battery. For that, he got a military medal. Amazingly, another chap who was there was John Bright. John Bright's from Fort Erie. He was another 19-year-old. August the 10th, 1914, he joins the 44th Regiment, Lincoln and Welland. Early 1915, he went to Hamilton, signed up with a battalion that was going overseas, the 36th. 4 days later, he's on the boat, heading for England. He was at one of the first big battles that the Canadian Corps took part in June 1916, and he was very badly wounded. So he spent about a year in hospital recovering. And then he was back out again, fighting he was with the 1st Battalion, 1st Division, 1st Battalion. And he made rank at the end of just before he was killed. He was a Lance Sergeant. He was killed by shell fire. He got shrapnel wounds, and now he's buried in Upton Wood. He won his medal also at Passchendaele, going above and beyond the call of duty. Quite an amazing man. It's a crying shame that he was killed.
The exhibit looks at 200 years of service and highlights the role local Black Canadians played in the country's military history.
There was so much information that we thought, what an opportunity to take this and put it out in schools, legions. So we developed 10 panels, and each of those panels takes a segment and maybe showcases a family, and we have 2 complete sets out now.
The traveling exhibit, created by the Niagara Military Museum, caught the attention of Canada's top museum.
Tim Cook, one of the foremost Canadian military historians, I think he's up to about 13 books now, and one of their operations people, Glenn Ogden, suddenly we get an email from them. We're looking at this stuff and we're interested in doing something with it. Because it comes from families, there's nowhere to find it. You can't go to an archive and find James Grant's story. You can't Google James Grant. You can't Google John Bright. There's nothing there. So we became a source, a grassroots source for the War Museum.